here to inspire somebody else to be the best player in the world, because what's the point? You know, this is not a fulfilling life. It's fulfilling from the sense of accomplishment, but it's not fulfilling from a sense of like the deepest.
Life's funny sometimes, isn't it? You can have all the trophies, all the money, and still feel like something's missing. That was Scottie Scheffler's reality. He wasn't just another golfer on Team USA's roster. He was the guy, the crown jewel, the unshakable anchor of American golf. Walking into Bethpage Black, he carried not just his clubs, but the weight of a nation on his back. Everyone expected fireworks, dominance, and another chapter in the legend of the world's #1. But instead of a glorious coronation, the stage turned into a nightmare, one that would echo through golf history for all the wrong reasons. From the very first swing, you could tell something was off. Scheffler's usual rhythm? Gone. His swing looked stiff, his putts kissed the edge of the hole and spun away like they were mocking him. You could see the frustration boiling, the kind that no camera could hide. By Friday night, the whispers started flying, and by Saturday, they had exploded into headlines. What's happening to Scheffler? Is the king losing his crown? The unthinkable was unfolding before our eyes. The best golfer on the planet, unraveling under the bright Ryder Cup lights. Reporters from Reuters called it more than a stumble. They said it was a slide into golf infamy. Scheffler, the man built to dominate, walked away from day one empty-handed, winless, rattled, and visibly shaken. Then came the gut punch. As Newsweek documented, the nightmare became historic. Scottie Scheffler, the world's #1, had just become the first ever to lose all 4 matches in a Ryder Cup. An unthinkable collapse that stunned the world and left fans wondering, how could this happen? 4 times he stepped up, and 4 times he fell flat. The scoreboard didn't sugarcoat it. The truth was brutal. This wasn't just a streak of bad luck. It was a full-on collapse. For a man known for ice-cold composure, steady nerves, and mechanical precision, watching Scottie Scheffler unravel was almost surreal. Fans who'd shown up expecting dominance were left staring in disbelief, blinking like they couldn't trust their own eyes. Analysts picked apart every swing, every grimace, every muttered word. They slowed down his missed putts frame by frame like detectives at a crime scene. People weren't just asking what happened. They were wondering if golf's Iron Man had suddenly turned fragile. Could the sport's steadiest player really be cracking under pressure? The Ryder Cup has served heartbreak before, but never like this. For Team USA, it was flat-out humiliation. For Scheffler, it was a scar that wouldn't fade. And for golf itself, it was an earthquake. Because when the world #1 crumbles, the whole sport trembles with him. Then came the twist that no one saw coming. The moment disaster turned into revelation. Scheffler grabbed the mic, took a deep breath, and stared straight into the cameras. What he said next shocked the entire golf world. His confession turned defeat into the story of the year. Bethpage Black was never meant to be forgiving. It's a beast of a course designed to crush egos and chew up confidence. But in 2025, the real pain didn't come from the bunkers or the rough. It came from the fans. The same crowd that was supposed to lift Team USA turned into a mob of hecklers. Their words cut deeper than any wedge shot. What started as passion turned into poison. A few boos here, a sarcastic cheer there. But by Saturday, the act was over. The mask had slipped, just like TalkSport reported, and what followed was pure chaos. Even Scottie Scheffler, America's golden boy, couldn't escape the sting. The chants hit like daggers, echoing through the air, mocking the #1 golfer in the world. When your own crowd turns against you, who's left to back you up? The taunts weren't just loud, they were vicious. Fans yelled mid-backswing, chanted insults in rhythm, and turned what should have been a tense, elegant showdown into pure bedlam. What was supposed to be a home field advantage started feeling like a hostile invasion. Bethpage Black didn't sound like a golf tournament anymore. It sounded like a riot set to music. And Scheffler, usually calm as stone, started to unravel right in front of us. His shoulders tightened, his walk sped up, and every missed putt drew another eruption from the crowd. It was brutal. The kind of pressure that breaks even the toughest. You could see it in his eyes, focus slipping away, confidence leaking like air from a punctured tire. It wasn't Europe beating him anymore, it was New York. The same fans meant to cheer him on were now tearing him apart. By Saturday, the Ryder Cup didn't look like golf. It looked like a gladiator match with phones instead of swords. Every outburst, every grimace, every frustrated sigh caught on camera and blasted across social media within seconds. The meltdown was no longer contained to the course. It was trending, looping, replaying. The world wasn't watching golf anymore. It was watching a man unravel under impossible pressure. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, it did. As Europe pulled ahead, the chants turned crueler, the boos louder, and Scheffler's body language darker. This wasn't a slump. It was a public breaking point, unfolding in real time. It was the unraveling of a man under siege, live, raw, and painful to watch. This wasn't competition anymore. This was a full-blown collapse happening in real time. But here's the thing, the story didn't end there, because when the final putt dropped and the crowd finally went quiet, Scottie Scheffler didn't run from it. He didn't hide behind excuses. He stepped up, took the mic, and spoke from the heart. What he admitted next cut deeper than any heckle ever could. And when he finished, the silence that followed hit harder than all the chaos that came before. Fast forward just months later, redemption came roaring back in a way no one expected. Out of nowhere, Scheffler delivered one of the most jaw-dropping performances of the entire season, and almost nobody was ready for it. At the 2025 CJ Cup, Byron Nelson, the same man the world had written off, showed up with vengeance in his swing and ice in his veins. He didn't just play well, he dominated. The golf world was left buzzing as he fired off a blistering opening round of 61, followed by a surgical 66 in round 3. By the time he was done, Scheffler had built a lead so massive it left the rest of the leaderboard gasping for air. 8 strokes ahead, let that sink in. In a tournament loaded with world-class talent and right there in front of his home state crowd in Texas, Scottie Scheffler turned the PGA Tour into his personal highlight reel. And it wasn't just the score, it was the way he did it. Calm, cold, calculated. From the first tee to the final green, he looked untouchable. His drives didn't just find fairways, they split them in half. His approaches, pin-seeking missiles, and that putter, ice cold. He made the impossible look effortless, and anyone who's ever picked up a club knows it never is. Commentators were scrambling for words, trying to capture what they were witnessing. A rebirth in real time. Fans couldn't stop buzzing online. The hype was unreal. Some were even asking if this was Scheffler's own version of Tiger Woods' legendary Pebble Beach domination in 2000. Maybe that's a stretch, but you can't deny it. This performance came out of nowhere. And here's the crazy part. Scottie hadn't won a single event in all of 2025 until this one. Yeah, he'd been consistent. Solid top 10, smooth form, always in the mix. But this was another gear entirely. Nobody saw it coming, not this early in the season. Suddenly, everyone was asking, is this just a hot weekend or the start of something massive? Because let's be real, the way he played didn't look like a fluke. It looked like a warning to every other player on tour. And that's where things get even more interesting. What was going down behind the scenes might actually be more jaw-dropping than what happened on the scoreboard. Scottie Scheffler came into the 2025 CJ Cup Byron Nelson with sky-high expectations and one glaring problem. He still hadn't won. Despite sitting atop the world rankings and racking up 5 top 10 finishes, including a fiery T3 at Torrey Pines back in February, the win column remained empty. Each week that passed just piled on more pressure, more eyes, more doubt. So when he teed it up at TPC Craig Ranch in McKinney, Texas, his home turf, the stakes were sky high. The CJ Cup wasn't just another event, it was his shot at redemption. The field might not have been the toughest of the year, but with big names like Jordan Spieth and Sungjae Im lurking, it wasn't a walk in the park either. And the timing, just weeks before the PGA Championship, made every swing, every putt, every move matter. This wasn't just a tournament, it was a statement. And Scottie Scheffler was finally ready to make his loudest one yet. From the very first round, you could feel it. Something had changed in Scheffler. He wasn't just playing golf. He was owning every blade of grass under his feet. The man who'd been called too cautious, too mechanical, suddenly looked free, fearless even. His swing was smooth but dangerous, like he was daring the course to fight back. Every hole felt like a challenge, and he met it with surgical precision and quiet fire. Crowds packed in tighter each day, chanting his name louder, feeling that buzz that only happens when greatness wakes up from a long sleep. Texas pride was running wild. People were waving flags, kids were wearing Scheffler hats, and even the commentators sounded like they were witnessing a sports movie in real time. The man who once crumbled under the weight of Bethpage black now looked untouchable. But what really flipped the script wasn't just his performance, it was his presence. Scheffler carried himself with a kind of calm swagger, like a man who'd finally stopped running from his own shadow. The same fans who once mocked him at the Ryder Cup were now cheering like their lives depended on it. Redemption wasn't just happening, it was roaring. Every stat told the story. Scheffler led in greens in regulation, fairways hit, strokes gained, the works. But the numbers didn't capture the energy, the vibe of what was happening. This was a comeback soaked in emotion, a quiet revenge tour against every critic who had written him off. By Sunday afternoon, you could feel it in the air. This wasn't just another PGA win waiting to happen. This was personal. Scheffler wasn't chasing a trophy anymore. He was reclaiming his reputation. And when he walked up to that final green, staring down a short birdie putt that could seal it all, the crowd didn't breathe. It was silence, electricity, and redemption, all in one moment. Then came the putt, the one that would erase months of frustration and silence every doubt that haunted him. Scottie Scheffler lined it up, steady hands, eyes locked in, and with one smooth stroke, boom, it dropped dead center. The crowd exploded. Roar shook TPC Craig Ranch like a thunderclap of redemption. Scheffler didn't jump or scream. He just closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and smiled. It wasn't arrogance. It was relief. The weight of Bethpage black had finally lifted. That moment wasn't just a win, it was a statement to the world. The same golfer who'd been heckled, mocked, and questioned had just dominated his home turf like a man reborn. And as cameras flashed and fans chanted his name, you could see it. The calm confidence of someone who'd found his rhythm again. Reporters rushed to him, microphones in his face, hungry for drama. But Scheffler didn't take the bait. He didn't lash out at the crowd or the critics. Instead, he said something that froze everyone for a second. Pressure doesn't break you, it reveals you. That line hit like lightning. It wasn't just a quote, it was a message to every athlete who's ever fallen under the spotlight. In that instant, Scottie Scheffler turned his lowest moment into one of golf's most powerful comebacks. From the man who couldn't buy a win to the player standing 8 shots clear of the field, it was poetic. The Ryder Cup nightmare was no longer his story. This was. As the trophy was handed to him, you could feel the shift. The silence that once haunted him had turned into applause. And just like that, the man everyone doubted had reminded the world exactly who he was. A champion built from pressure, patience, and pure grit. When the dust settled and the cameras started to fade, one thing was clear. This wasn't just a win for Scottie Scheffler, it was a full-blown redemption arc. The same fans who once doubted him now shouted his name with pride. Every cheer that echoed through the Texas air felt like a personal apology from the golf world that had once turned its back on him. In that victory walk, Scheffler didn't need to say much. His silence said it all. Every step toward the clubhouse was dripping with quiet confidence, the kind that only comes from being broken, rebuilt, and reborn in front of millions. The Ryder Cup disaster was now a distant shadow in his rearview mirror, replaced by the glow of something much bigger. Redemption earned the hard way. Analysts scrambled to find the words to describe it. Was this the start of Scheffler's second reign? Was golf witnessing the rebirth of a legend in real time? Fans were convinced this was no fluke. This was the return of dominance, the moment the sport had been waiting for. And maybe that's the beauty of it. Greatness doesn't disappear, it just gets tested. Scheffler's journey from ridicule to respect became the reminder every athlete needs, that sometimes the fall isn't the end. It's the fire that reignites the rise. As the sun set over TPC Craig Ranch and Scheffler lifted that trophy high, the crowd chanted his name one last time. This wasn't noise anymore, it was validation. He didn't just win a tournament, he won back his name, his pride, and the trust of every fan who ever believed in him. So here's the question. Is Scottie Scheffler finally back on top for good, or is this just the calm before another storm? Let's talk about it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and stay tuned for the next one. Because if this comeback is any sign, the best is still yet to come. The weather tried its best to play spoiler, but even nature couldn't slow down Scottie Scheffler. Heavy rains early in the week softened the greens, making the course a playground for bold, fearless swings. But then came the chaos, thunderstorms, lightning, and a brutal 6-hour suspension that turned the second round into a mental marathon. Most players came back looking rattled, but not Scheffler. He looked sharper, calmer, like the storm had only recharged him. And that's when he made history. Opening the tournament with a jaw-dropping 10 under 61, Scheffler shattered the 18-hole course record like it was nothing. Even after the weather delays, he came right back in round 2 and fired off an 8 under 63. That pushed him to 18 under through just 36 holes. Total domination. The man wasn't just playing golf, he was conducting a masterclass in control, power, and precision. The interruptions, the pressure, the chaos, none of it cracked him. His focus stayed razor-sharp, his rhythm unbreakable. Every shot looked like it came straight from a highlight reel. That's the mark of a champion, not just talent, but resilience under fire. With his lead widening and the rest of the field gasping for air, one thing became crystal clear. Scottie Scheffler wasn't just winning a tournament, he was sending a message. After months of doubt and whispers about whether he'd lost his edge, this was his answer, loud and clear. He's back and he's coming for everything. As the final round loomed, the anticipation hit fever pitch. Could he finish the job and claim his first win of the season? Every fan watching knew one thing. Scheffler was locked in, the kind of locked in that makes history. So what do you think? Are we witnessing the start of a new Scottie Scheffler era? Drop your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you on the next one.